also appreciate Coach for leading us in that great meditation, prayer and meditation session. So over to you, Collins.
Oh, thank you so much, my brother Tim from Nairobi. Greetings from Nairobi, Kenya. And, to my friend Kat. Oh, what an amazing, it's an afternoon here and such a great, like reawakening of my spirit, soul, and mind just to hear uh, the meditation part of it. And yeah, as Carter said it, we are the force of life. And just hearing from his experience and what he has talked about, um, and reflecting back on the journey that we have had with the team all around. And I remember, David Coe once said, I have no idea about all this and the outcome of all this. And just listening to, the meditation and the prayer part from Kat, and, we are one planet, we are the humanity, peace and everything. It brings the sense and the meaning about, actually what our mission has been. And I think from where David sees and the whole team, uh, you know, that padlock has been unlocked, and we feel like we're on the right path. And so, Tim, I welcome you back, and just saying hello to everyone watching wherever they are. We pray and hope that you extend your hand of peace to the rest for a better planet. So, thank you so much, and back to you, Tim.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Collins. And nice reminding us, of the importance of prayer and meditation at this time, whereby, people are running, people have anxiety, climate anxiety, people are even anxious about whether or not you're going to meet the sustainable development goals by 2030. And, having such session, it makes us, uh, it makes us take a break from the hassles of life, and what future holds, and just gives us a moment to calm down and reflect and connect with nature. So that is it, and we privileged to have it. And I'm checking who else is on the stage. And just to let you know, we have lined up activities, engagements too, for this session. And to start us off, we are going to have to listen to a conversation, um, which forms one of the activities that we're going to engage in during these 12 days of COP, where it's I Want to Sing, where we'll be, highlighting stories of musicians and getting them to share their stories of how they've been able to cope up with everything and how their journey has been. And to start us off, we are going to have a conversation by Brudini and Richard, as Brudini shares his life uh, in music. So let's listen to it.
Otherwise,
Yes.
I mean, I guess it's going back kind of to um, early doors, old school hip hop, when people walked around with the tape recorder and they picked up whatever was being heard on the street, and then they went back and they
Yeah.
worked with that in the studio, which I think is. I thought back then it was extremely refreshing and different and just very cool. Then all those sounds got stored, and I think what I'm hearing nowadays is that a lot of people actually are going back to that system of picking up the sounds themselves. But obviously, you have a lot fancier equipment nowadays, tape recorder than you had in the 80s when you started doing it. But it's,
Yeah.
I tend to think of music in many ways as um, not necessarily circles, but journeys. But most artists I know well, they always come back to the point where they somehow started out at a later stage in their career. They kind of return to the roots. They might have taken on different influences and refined it a lot, but they always at some point later in the career, they came back to the sounds and the style and for a better word, roots where they came from. I think that goes for pretty much all the artists I can, on top of my head, think of. They do that journey and they find themselves back in some form. Do you think you will do that? End up playing punk music again?
Yeah, maybe. But I'll probably do an electronic album first, actually. I've been listening to techno recently.
Okay.
Really enjoying going to like techno clubs, and I went to Berlin twice last year.
Yeah.
There's something about the energy you can get from electronic music, which you can't really get from kind of live guitar band music. I've been wondering exactly what it is, but there's something about electronic dance music where the bass can really almost like
Intensity.
punch you and make people move, which fascinates me. And maybe I've been doing the more acoustic stuff for so long that this type of music really interests me right now.
Time to do something different. All the great artists keep evolving at all times. You never stand still. So I think that's a very good sign. But Berlin influenced so many musicians over the years, and a lot of the greats have always, at one point or another, ended up living and recording there. It seems to be a melting pot of musical styles that brings out the very best of a lot of musicians and artists. So, electronica, huh? We can expect an electronic album soon.
Okay.
So is Richard talking over you? Are you playing two clips?
Not really. It's just one.
Richard, are you repeating yourself?
I checked
Sorry?
it with local jazz and it was switched from my clip. I'm not sure why it's not.
Someone is playing something and Tim is trying to play something else.
Okay. Let us have a look.
I think you've got two posts going on, and I'm not sure which clip do you want to play, Tim?
It was the one by
Is it in-
Richard and Brady.
Let me
Music
do a
and light.
screen share from my side. I can play it here.
Okay, we've clearly got a feedback. Someone's got something on twice.
Obviously prefer to use as much analog sound, as many analog sounds as possible, rather than use a media library of pre-recorded, uploaded sounds, because you think it sounds more alive. And if you can create them yourself, it's even better. Otherwise,
Yes.
I mean, I guess it's going back kind of to early doors, old school hip hop, when people walked around with the tape recorder and they picked up whatever was being heard on the street, and then they went back and they worked with that in the studio, which I think is, I thought back then it was extremely refreshing and different and just very cool. Then all those sounds got stored, and I think what I'm hearing nowadays is that a lot of people actually are going back to that system of picking up the sounds themselves. But obviously you have a lot fancier equipment nowadays than an old school, tape recorder than you had in the 80s when you started doing.
Okay, now we can start again. I think someone has got some other audio playing. So So Tim, I'm not sure what you're playing, but you're playing something on your screen sharing as an app rather than on the whole screen or something, rather than as a tab. So when I'm speaking, if we wait about 5 seconds and someone else
Good
is clearly
morning,
coming
good
on with some more
evening, good afternoon.
sounds. So someone is replaying this thing in some ways through some channel, and I don't think that's what you intend to do.
Yes, Tim.
There is no
So
drama because we have
I
12 days, and I can assure you, you will see that very interesting clip in full later when I'm speaking to Brodini about how he records his music and what his outlook on music and life is. There were some technical issues, let's call it that, and it's time to move on. So swiftly, I'm going to hand back over to our host for today, Collins, who will be joined shortly by Tim, who no doubt frantically looking through the media library trying to figure out what happened. But let's leave it at that. And I promise you, we will show you that clip at a later stage during these 12 days.
Thank you so much, Richard. Great to have you back, Tim, on stage. What do you have for us, Tim, from your other end?
Okay, thank you, and apologies for that technical hitch. And now, on our segment of looking after our common home, where we're inviting people to share projects that they are doing that are geared towards taking care of the environment, ensuring that we have a more sustainable environment. Um, we are now. I'm going to invite to us one Eddie Gitonga, who has an innovation about a smart bin that is meant to help clear the waste in a most manageable way. So to start us off, we are going to listen to a promotional video of his work, and then get to have a conversation with him.
In urban areas remains uncollected. This has led to the unprecedented levels of environmental degradation. However, a Kenyan entrepreneur has come up with a smart dust bin that provides a solution to proper waste management. Edward Chwea reports on this innovation that is likely to be a game changer.
At the Juja City Mall along the busy Thika Superhighway, we
Okay, so as we've been sorted on that technical hitch, so just to say that Eddie has an innovation, and which is meant to ensure that we have, we've managed our waste in a more effective way, promoting circular economy, and as a way of trying to promote the three R, that is reuse, recycle, and reduce, for more sustainable environment. So as Richard is trying to sort us out and bring us the video. So Collins, what's your thoughts about waste in relations to making our environment better?
Thank you, Tim. As you mentioned, part of our initiative campaign is about livelihoods and how we turn these the things around us that we actually maybe think about, the obstacles or challenges, and actually the waste, into something that can actually build livelihoods around young people. So it's an amazing concept, and I look forward to just seeing how our friend has done that. And glad to have Inga from Norway joining us. Hi, Inga.
She's muted. Inga, you're muted.
Hi. Nice to see you. I was just following your technical glitches here and was saying, oh, what's going on? So we'll have to jump on the stage and say, hi, what's going on? So, this beautiful with this technology is that we have music that we kind of preset and of course my friend Collins, who I never have met, only online. He knows that he called me like a DJ, and of course I'm not a DJ. I'm the World Climate School, and I have to say that for the last week now, we have done interviews from Kenya and around the world, but from the youth in Kenya and the different projects, it's been extremely interesting to see what's going on in Nairobi itself. And then we do have some of them to show if we like Collins. Even the introduction music comes from.
Inga, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm being told that the video now is okay. We
Oh,
can watch it, and then you'll be able
I
to.
look forward to watch it. I haven't seen that one. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, proper way. Remains uncollected. This has led to the unprecedented levels of environmental degradation.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone from where you're joining us from. Today with me, I have Eddie Gitonga, who is the founder of TBIN project, which is an innovation that is geared towards controlling waste, ensuring that we have sustainable cities across the world. So welcome so much, Eddie. Looking forward for a great conversation. And to start us off, kindly introduce yourself, Eddie.
Thank you so much, Timothy. As you've just introduced me, my name is Eddie Gitonga. I'm an innovator and a young African leader. Currently joining you live from Thika, Kenya, and I'm so excited to be a part of this. The TBIN is a smart, intelligent, solar-powered segregated waste bin that is supposed to educate people on waste separation and source. And why we decided to come up with this project is we have waste disposal not being embraced, correct waste disposal not being embraced, especially in Africa. So we decided to come up with this product so as to educate people on effective solid disposal source so that we can maximize on circular economy activities, as well as provide digital opportunities for young people. And I'm so grateful and humbled to be a part of this.
Great. Thank you so much, Eddie. It's nice to have you on board here. And such an incredible and amazing story you're sharing. You are in the era of, AI and, having an innovation that is geared towards protecting our common home, conserving our common home, which is Mother Nature Earth. It's such an incredible thing.
At the Juja City Mall along the busy Thika Superhighway, we find Eddie Gitonga busy inspecting and fixing a few cables. This is his brainchild, which he calls the TBIN.
The TBIN was inspired by me coming to Nairobi County and finding out that people do not dispose waste responsibly. So I decided, why not build a bin that is really interactive with the public for it to educate people on waste separation at source.
Gitonga says he is a passionate environmental conservationist and his desire is to see a clean environment sustainable to everyone.
Conservation conversations is how do we create solutions that benefit our environment, that create jobs, solutions that not only benefit me as an individual, but benefit the society.
The TBIN has special features, among them sensors that detect your movement, call for your attention, and go ahead to give you details on how to dispose your waste.
So once you approach the TBIN, it greets you and tells you, welcome to the TBIN. Please dispose of your organic waste, which is the blue compartment as you saw. Please dispose of your organic waste on the green compartment. And at the same time, we have the screens behind me, which also tell you the different types of wastes. Our bin is also fitted inbuilt Wi-Fi. So our T-bin also has inbuilt CCTVs because we want to capture the data. We also have street lighting for our bin, fully solar powered. It got proximity sensors that when you approach it, it speaks to you. It has a battery that powers this whole device.
Today, Gitonga has rolled out the T-bin at the Juja Mall City and looks forward to having it installed in different places across the city and beyond.
My target would be if I had this bin in every school in our country, gated communities, residential places that provide security.
And how much does it cost to come up with this innovative idea?
150,000 without the cloud computing component, but with the cloud computing component, it's 200,000.
And Gitonga doesn't just create revenue from selling the T-bin. As he reveals, the screens fitted to this innovation come in handy.
So we create revenue from waste collection from our device. We also create revenue from recycling. For the smart screens, besides providing education, I could also provide advertisement for people that would want their businesses to grow. Financing has been one of my major problem, especially for you to get to register this as a patent costs you a lot of money. Having an idea in your mind and having it on paper and then translating into something that is visible takes some time.
While environmentalists continue to seek solutions around sustainable waste management, Eddie Gitonga's innovation will go a long way in creating a circular economy that creates wealth and jobs from the waste sector. Edward Chwea, Made in Kenya. Citizen.
From in your introduction, you answered why you started. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone from where you're joining us from. Today with me, I have Eddie Gitonga, who is the founder of T-bin project, which is an innovation that is geared towards controlling waste, ensuring that we have sustainable cities across the world. So welcome so much, Eddie. Looking forward for a great conversation. And to start us off, kindly introduce yourself, Eddie.
Thank you so much, Timothy. As you've just introduced me, my name is Eddie Gitonga. I'm an innovator and a young African leader. Currently joining you live from Thika, Kenya, and I'm so excited to be a part of this. The T-bin is a smart, intelligent, solar-powered segregated waste bin that is supposed to educate people on waste separation and source. And why we decided to come up with this product is we have waste disposal not being embraced, correct waste disposal not being embraced, especially in Africa. So we decided to come up with this product so as to educate people on effective solid disposal a source so that we can maximize on circular economy activities, as well as provide digital opportunities for young people. And I'm so grateful and humble to be a part of this.
Great. Thank you so much, Eddie. It's nice to have you on board here. And such an incredible and amazing story you're sharing. You are in the era of, AI and, having an innovation that is geared towards protecting our common home, conserving our common home, which is Mother Nature. It's such an incredible thing.
At the Juja City Mall along the busy Thika Superhighway, we find Eddie Gitonga busy inspecting and fixing a few cables. This is his break.
It seems that we have a technical hitch. As it's been sorted, maybe we can have a conversation about, e-waste, sorry, not e-waste, plastic waste and how it can be used to foster circular economy. Maybe Collins, what's your thought about recycling being a model which can be able to reduce linear economy and promote circular economy? or maybe Inga, either of you.
You know, absolutely. Thank you for presenting this technology and you know the ambition of the T-bin. And it's like a teacher. It is a data collector, and it's a tech that can go to every school on the planet. You know, I'm here as the co-founder of the World Climate School. But before that, I started with circular economy, and I was really concerned already as early as 2002 about circular economy. And I come from the fashion industry, and what I think that this thing about circular economy, where waste can have a wealth, and we're going away from a linear economy. That's part of the solutions, no doubt about it. And of course, Collins and myself, we had an interview yesterday, as I mentioned earlier on, that was really brilliant about plastic. And we had a very nice presentation about both the solutions, but also ideas that can be applied.
Okay.
Over to you, Collins. What do you think? Take a lead on this. I had to put a little bit background music because I have some background noise.
Thank you, Inga, and yeah, it's amazing just seeing what different innovations coming along to actually address the issue of waste. And as Tim, you mentioned, from Ed's story, what I gather is an opportunity where he is actually using the technologies and these innovations to address a problem, but as well also use that model to like create employment for young people. And I understand, with the rising population within our cities, like in Nairobi, this kind of model it's something that can be scaled up to ensure that on one hand our young people have are creating income out of it, and in the same manner raising the issue of waste in the same manner. And as Inga mentioned, yesterday we had this great discussion with a student from the United States International University in Nairobi, the chairman of the Environmental Society of USIU, and they are actually also using the same kind of concept in a simple way of reaching out to the community, getting these plastic waste, and they have a partnership with a local industry that is actually picking it up to create toilet paper through the same. So I think it's a very brilliant idea, and thanks and congrats to Eddie for this amazing job. Over to you, Tim.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Let's check in and see if we can be able to hear him well now. I believe we're able to.
Brainchild, which he called T-bin.
The T-bin.
Okay, thank you. Us from today with me, I have Eddie Gitonga, who is the founder of T-bin. Seems that the technical hitch is still there, but anyway, we can just have a run through conversation about the whole thing, and whereby we've seen plastic being a menace, a huge menace. I think it's just last year that we were able to that there was the UNEA declaration that was made here, which was meant to and interesting. Eddie Gitonga is here with us live. So maybe we can get to hear from him as well. Welcome so much, Eddie. Eddie, welcome so much. He's the founder.
Hey, Timothy.
Yes. Kindly, can you see your video on? Kindly.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, Eddie, we can hear you. So we were just having a conversation about your innovation, which is T-bin, and just briefly share with us, take us through how the journey has been, and maybe some of the challenges that you've encountered, and some of the success stories that you had. Okay. Okay. Seems he has network issues. Carry on, Eddie.
Yes, network issues. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. I think it's my network. Thank you very much for hosting me on this platform, Timothy, and I'm really happy to and excited to be a part of this. Yes. So as you just said, I'm really happy. Sorry, I was outdoors, so I had to juggle between logging in and finding a safe space. Yeah. So I really have had quite a journey in this, especially from building the product itself, and from like I got my very first support in 2021 when we created our very first product. We have 3 currently, and we've had a partnership with two foreign, one in the US and one in Sweden, and I'm so happy that we also find potential collaborators in this as well. Yeah, I don't know if I was clear.
Yes, sure. And how has it been? What are some of the success stories that you've had, and also how have you managed to get everyone involved in this as we wrap it up? Okay, seems we've lost him. Collins, kindly take us to the next guest today, Mr. Gina.
Okay, thank you. Maybe from Inga from the back studio. I think we are supposed to be joining Mr. Gina. Inga, from your end, what do we have next coming?
And next coming on the green room on the back. Gina has not turned up yet, so we will improvise a little bit. He's probably coming. So here it is, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's welcome Gina. So we can welcome Mr. Jinnah from Pakistan. And it's Friday. It's Friday for Pakistan. As you know, Pakistan has an important role in the field of climate engagement on a political level. At COP27, it was very important voice from Pakistan after the extreme floodings. And I think we are broadcasting live now from the Fridays for Future and the S2 Academy of Pakistan. We look forward to this. Where everyone is here, we will welcome you and we're going live with you.
Hi, Mr. Gina, how are you?
And we can also have our friend Eddie coming back, so we can just observe and reflect. You know, the thing about, I'm in Norway and I live in a culture of few people. So the waste problem and the tough reality of waste management is here, of course, on multiple levels. But I've been recently in India, and the streets of New Delhi, and the rivers and the waste, it's beyond understanding how we can clean up. We have to stop it from coming. We have to stop it from at the source. I has also been very impressed by the Globe Trees engagement in Nairobi with the children in Dandora. And if time allows us, we should also present that video. But as the time is here now, we're waiting to connect on a live stream. So
Yes.
so I think we can wait a bit. What do you think, Timothy? Are we just waiting and trying to save our
wait for
clip?
Mr. Gina.
Yeah.
Yes, I was waiting for Mr. Gina to connect in.
Yeah.
Maybe we can just give few reflections about the conversation we just had about TBIN, and which I think helps to address the issue of waste management, because that is really an issue which
Absolutely.
yes.
You know, I can see Ed is back live after we have presented his invention, I will say, and you know, I can see that the solar panel is on top of it. Is a computer which is into the cloud technology. So I'm really curious to know what more. How is the vision to have it in schools, and you know how important is this T-bin as a teacher's bin, so it can teach you something. I guess maybe the T is the teacher, or the bin is the teaching something. So what's your ambition? How to develop the T-bin into a school system, or as a teacher, Eddie? Or
Because since we lost
maybe you know his ambitions after interviewing him, Tim.
Yes,
So
maybe we can get back to that, Dani. Inga, I am told that Mr. Gina is ready. So if you can have Mr. Gina's presentation ready, then we are good to go. Kindly.
थैंक यू हमारे साथ रहिएगा
Sure, sir.
हमारे साथ हैं थैंक यू राइट ज़ियाउद्दीन साहब अस्सलाम वालेकुम सैयद ज़ियाउद्दीन
अस्सलाम वालेकुम
वालेकुम सलाम सर थोड़ा तारुफ कराएंगे प्लीज
sure myself engineer Sayyid Ziauddin. I'm an electrical engineer. Currently I'm working in KSA near the MAM as a maintenance engineer.
Mashallah, so you're at the MAM, right? So
Yeah, Saudi Arabia.
Great. Thank you. इंशाल्लाह मैं साथ में आपको ज्वाइन कर लेते हैं इंशाल्लाह. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Tech team के साथ कौन है हमारे साथ? Tech team.
we're okay. Can you hear me,
Yes,
Tim?
Tech team. Whom we having today?
Yes, I can.
अपना तारुफ रहेगा please. Okay, good. All right.
So, Tim, I think we are trying to connect live on the Zoom meeting out of Kenya, Pakistan, and it's building the future. It's a technology Zoom meeting, and they're still preparing the
sir, अस्सलाम वालेकुम, कैसे हैं आप? ठीक हैं?
बेटा तारुफ करा दीजिए, कौन बात कर रहे हैं आप?
Sir, Hasnain here from Security Experts, Manager Information.
Very good. मुझे जरा co-host कर देना इसमें, ताकि वो मुझे mute लोगों को करना होता है. Thank you.
Just a minute.
Thank you.
Yes,
मुझे वो दूसरा जो Amazon जिस पे लिखा है उसमें होस्ट कर दें, जिस पे Amazon लिखा है ना उस पे होस्ट
करें. सॉरी सर, आपकी आवाज थोड़ी सी स्लो आ रही है, अगर काइंडली दोबारा बता दें, रिपीट कर दें.
मेरा वो जो जिस पे मोहम्मद अली लिखा है ना उसको को होस्ट कर दें. StreamYard, but it was wonderful show, you started.
Oh, yes, it's amazing. I can be on multiple channels at the same time. I can wave to myself from here to there. And I will look forward to.
So as they're sorting out the mic, Eddie, are you still on the call, Eddie? Eddie, are you still on the
Yes,
call? Okay, great. Nice to have you. Maybe briefly, can you take us through how the T-bin works?
you played the video earlier, I know you did a recording earlier, is a smart intelligence solar powered waste bin that educates people on waste separation at source. So basically, there's a mounted solar panel which powers a battery in the bin, which stores the power. So apparently, during the day, all the systems in the bin run on the purely on the solar energy that is generated, and then the excess power then is stored in a battery. So what happens is you we have two compartments on the bin. We have you have an organic compartment, and then we have an anorganic compartment where we have proximity sensors. Once you approach the bin, like it triggers a voice where which tells you on what contents of that you want to dispose of, where they should go. So if you have non-organic, they go to the green compartment, the blue compartment. Sorry. Then if you have organic, they go to the green compartment. Then non-organic to the blue compartment. And then we have some smart screens which display the different types of waste. This is just meant to be for education purposes only, where it is meant to be positioned in schools so that we raise a generation of kids in Africa that are able to separate their waste from source. Another feature of the bin is where we have an installed Wi-Fi router, which basically we use the internet in the bin to tokenize users who correctly dispose of the waste. So if you have, let's say, for example, a kilogram of plastic, the kilo of plastics is compensated with let's say 1 or 2 hours of internet, and which is redeemable in different places. So if you use 15 minutes of internet, you can use the 45 minutes an extra street lighting to provide a lighting space for for the bin, and also provide the more than 300 million people of people in Africa living without affordable lighting. Yeah, so basically, in a nutshell, we've combined both technologies of AI and IoT in the bin to bring off a feeling of technology in our systems. Yeah, so basically, that's how the T-bin works. I don't know if you guys
Wow.
heard me correctly. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. We did. Thank you so much,
It's
Eddie. And
it's
just to
amazing.
thank you. And just to maybe do a follow-up question, with, and probably you had mentioned that how is the economical aspect of it? Like, how does it involve other people? For sustainability as well. Eddie, you're muted. Okay. I can see we can't be able to reach him, and I see Mr. Jenny Mr. Gina is ready. So let's go and get to hear Mr. Gina. So over to Mr. Gina.
Um, Right now, I'm seeing the technical glitches again, Tim. I can see they are.
Facing
I'll ask.
the very severe, potentially severe consequences of climate change if we don't change our ways. But at the same time, we have to remember that for a long time now, the world has been focused first on the Millennium Development Goals, and now on the Sustainable Development Goals, which have as a primary goal the closing of the inequality gaps between developing parts of the world and developed parts. And that is primarily only achievable through either growth or redistribution. Growth could increase the number of people that have the means to consume, or we have to redistribute the consumption. And because of the skewing, that it's really, even if we take the wealthiest 10%, I've been playing a little bit of a role, what would it take to enable the medium per capita GDP of the of all countries to be at least 40% of the median of the median per capita GDPs of the wealthiest 10% of countries in the world. And the conclusion is it would take about a 140% increase in global GDP. Basically, that means a 140% increase in consumption. Now, we're saying the world is already over the limits of consumption. Now, it's inconceivable to be able to say, well, we're going to have it grow to 2.5 times what it currently is. And so the conundrum for those in Dubai is you've got a lot of have-nots in this world that want to have a little bit of something. But for them to have a little bit of something, that means they're going to consume. And the problem that we've got is in the wealthiest countries, it's not everybody that shares that wealth. All the wealth in the wealthiest countries is concentrated in the top few percent of their populations. And so I did a little bit of a calculation here. If we were to take the top 20 countries in the world, who would have to redistribute if we wanted to keep consumption at the same level. And it turns out that they would have to give up 30 to 40% of their wealth. But that's based on the whole country's wealth. But if that wealth is all concentrated in the hands of 5% of the population or 10% of the population, they would probably have to give up 60 to 80% of their wealth to enable the bulk of the world population to have even a modest level of quality of life. And this is the problem. So we see there's been an agreement here. Let's put a couple $100 million in a fund to help the victims of climate change live through their suffering. But I don't hear anybody coming up and saying, we're going to put a significant amount of money into preventing climate change. And yet at the same time, not telling the poor people in the world, sorry, you got to stay poor because we're not willing to reduce our consumption. Therefore, you're not allowed to have any consumption. So this is the conundrum that we have, that we need to find a way. Now, this discussion I've been having, it's going on now for well over 24 hours, is with ChatGPT. The latest version, ChatGPT.
One question, right? Bill, one question,
Yes.
Then you answer, and then I have a same question for David also. You said about the money, but I heard, like in COP27 and maybe one in the Paris, they had so many billions of dollars allocated for the the countries who are suffering for the for this environment effect, but only nothing on surface.
Yeah, I recall being at the UN during the General Assembly a few years, the year before COVID, and the talk was with regards to countries that have pledged to allocate a certain percentage of GDP to the education of their populations. And it turns out here, and I'm sorry if there's anybody from India on the call, I'm not picking on India, but it turns out that India has met the targets of budgeting enough money, that amount of money for their education year after year after year. The problem is that was reported there in that meeting with the Deputy Secretary General in attendance, that they don't release the funds. So they have it in the budget. And next year, the same money's in the budget again as the previous year because they spent a small share.
Yeah, let have a few words with David, then I'll come back to others. Hello, David, how are you? Thank you, David. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. I know you're doing wonderful job. I only known to you for a couple of days, but I'm really inspired the things you are doing. And so kindly introduce yourself and of course the COP28 and of course the It's For You. David.
Hi, Mr. Juna, can you hear me? Hello? Mr. Juna, can you hear me?
No.
I think we can't hear them.
We can't hear them at all.
And I don't know what's wrong. We're not even broadcasting live on our pages. You've linked to their page, but we are not showing live on our pages, Inger. This session. It's nowhere. Not on It's For You, not on mine, not on Iram. Something is wrong. How do we check?
I've seen your live, Sadaf.
No, it's not on YouTube. It's only live. Are we live just on YouTube?
You're live on Facebook. You can check. You can check through on that
No,
column.
we are not live. We are not live right now. If you go to because I am admin, this session is not broadcasting on It's For You and not on my page, not on David, not on Iram. It says that we are, but it's not showing live like we were before. Inger, can you check? Because David has linked this session, Zoom, into their page. Because David has linked this session, Zoom, into their page. Because David has linked this session, Zoom, into their page.
I can share with you that I think it's live on YouTube, at least on 360, but I think this is the technical aspect with David's mobile phone or David's upload. It's not working that well. So
okay, so we're live on YouTube. So sorry, the viewers, that there's some technical issue. I mean, it's technology, right? But yes, so over to you, Tim.
Okay, thank you so much, Sadaf, and apologies to our viewers. Let's move on. So we've had a conversation about about smart waste collector, and now we were having a convention with Mr. Gina, and next in line we'll have two guests will be joining us, and then we'll have the Book of Trees segment where we'll be having people to share about a lady called Martha Wandera will be sharing about a tree that she connects. But maybe before we move on, maybe we can be able to maybe get some few reflections from what you've had, and maybe from your end, Sadaf from Pakistan. I understand that the issue of plastics has been really a thorn in the flesh, and which has contributed hugely to environmental degradation. So, how has it been for you on your end? And I understand that Pakistan was one of the main proponents for the UNEA declaration. So, how has it been for you on your end?
Timothy, very important question that you raised. It's very near to my heart, by the way. When I was working on sustainable development goals a few years back, I did quite a lot of workshops in the remote areas of Pakistan, because in cities, like, we have these rich kids, educating, but what about those areas? When I started and I had conferences on SDGs up in the northern parts, and in Punjab, in different provinces, they were quite excited about. They didn't even know what sustainable development goals are. So coming back to your question, plastic pollution is still a big issue in Pakistan. But lately, I would like to share that Unilever, combined with this company Seed Ventures, we've made two plastic roads. One is in Islamabad on the main where there's a posh area in F6, and then they made one plastic road in Karachi recently I visited. So that's a start. And then also the government in the capital in Islamabad, they started a campaign of reusing and told all the shopkeepers that they not be allowed to sell plastic bags. It started, but then it went down because people are not cooperating. The where plastic bags are made, the industries will shut down. So it started, but then it fizzled out. It's like nobody takes their own bags like we do in other countries. When I lived in UK, we have to take your own bag. Otherwise, you have to pay if you have to buy. So we have a long way still. Nestle, all these companies that they are bottling plastic water. We don't have recycling plants, unfortunately, like other countries have. We don't have the mechanism. It just goes into the landfills. We don't have a proper recycling plants where plastic can be recycled. There is so much plastic pollution in cities, and if you go to the rural areas, even there are more. Not only plastic, but I'll hand over to Inger. Fashion, the cloth you see in the most beautiful areas where my resort is, the snow melting trees. It's like, Inger, when you go, you'll have tear in your eyes. You see those beautiful streams with plastic bottles with the cloth. And all those, like the chips, the packets, you see them. So it's quite sad to see all this, but unfortunately, we have a long way to go. Campaign plastic awareness workshops. They spend so much money on these conferences in big cities, but actually, I mean, on the ground in Pakistan, there's nothing that I can share that is actually happening. And, but let's see how it goes. Inger, how would you talk about, you are into fashion and sustainability, and we talk about, like, I know that even in US, like on internet, when I don't like, when I have time, I just see that they're making clothes from recycled Coke bottles. There was a project in US, and there's so many other projects. They're making handbags. If you remember, in Ghana we did that project. They're making these bags, the communities, from plastic. So you can make, plastic is a gold. If you understand it, you can make business, you can make projects. Yes, Inger.
Yes, thank you, thank you. There's so many things to say about this. And it's Sadaf. We talked about it for the last 2 years, how we can make a scale up transition from a linear economy to a circular economy, and to boost that in the fashion industry and the Silk Road industry initiatives that we've been talking about. My beginning was the 360 Hub already in the year 2000, and I read the literature from China on how to recycle like bigger steel and more construction material. So what we see in the Nordic countries is, yes, we have to have recycling even in building and construction as an imperative. And so this thing about circular economy, it's more a question, how can we do it, Sadaf? And how can we scale up this mental model of circular economy to be everywhere? I think the tea bin that we saw this early on this afternoon was quite a good idea, because the tea bin is a teacher bin, and you have to put rewards to waste management, as they do with the tea bin that is from Kenya here. And of course, Sadaf, I've recently came back from India, New Delhi, so it's not only the chemical pollution in the air, but it's like every river everywhere is like everything is out of control when it comes to waste management and plastic, especially because you can see it's floating in the rivers. And the youth that I met in India, they were said, like, we're trying to clean up like 4 square meter, and it takes 4 days, and it's layer upon layer, and then the flooding comes, it's layer and mud and plastic and rubbish and everything. So yes, then the other thing I think with circular economy and plastic, as you mentioned, for recycling of bottles, for example, into polyester, like pullovers and sweaters, that has an unintended consequence. It's just like recycling plastic, that material that is not good for neither people or the planet. And the other way we can also look at the unintentional consequences on plastic recycling or recycling of big object is tires from cars. And if you burn tires from cars, it gets as black as a dark night. The chemical particles, and if you recycle, as we've done in the Northern Europe, we're recycling into chopping it into pieces and using it for artificial football fields. And that again is starting to be forbidden now in a couple of years in the Nordic countries. So that's it's a good idea that you cut pieces of tires from cars into small things that can be used on sporting fields, but it's damaging everything. It's a good idea, but the consequences are bad. It's a question back to you, Tim and Sadaf, like, how can we scale up on a global level in Pakistan and other places, the transition from linear to circular economy? How can we spin that to be a reality? So over to you, back to you again, my friends.
Okay. I think, thank you so much for that. And I think one way is acknowledging that there's nothing like waste. Yeah. It's waste is a resource that is not appropriately placed where it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
For example, maybe if I've used if maybe I've used a plastic maybe a water bottle plastic, and I've thrown it away, it's until that point, it's until then that it's considered as waste. But if I took that plastic bottle and assemble it somewhere and take it, and take it to be used for another use, then it transitions from being a waste to a resource, because once it's recycled, it ends up becoming an end product. So making it a resource towards getting an end product. So first, I think it's changing our mindset, understanding that there is nothing as waste. It's just a matter of knowing that this resource, once it's been used, it's been used at this point, it ought to be taken to the next level so that it can be a resource to another end product. So I think for me that is one change of mindset, and the other thing is enforcement of policies, because I look at the UNEA part that was made. It was all about a nice what do you call it, a write-up that was brought forth. But again, the main challenge has been is the implementation aspect of it. So if we can really put up systems, strengthen those systems that are supposed to enforce such policies, I think that would go a long way to ensure that circular economy is fostered, as opposed to operating on a linear economy sort of a model. So those are my two reasons, and maybe I'm going to provide others as the conversation goes on. Maybe I can allow Collins also to maybe contribute on that as well.
Thank you so much, Tim. And if looking at the experiences shared by Sadaf in Pakistan, in Norway, I agree that the approach has to touch on stories such as what Ed is trying to do with the technology and innovations around it, and at the same time, uh, just the same model that It's For You campaign is trying to do. Because we say, can we start all this from like a family level to help people understand what's happening at the global level? And therefore, I believe behavior change and that shift of mindset that you talked about, Tim, seeing waste as not waste, but something that is just with us. And so I believe the discussion has to start with at a family level, talking to children, and sometimes you have seen experience where you have an adult throwing something off to the street, and maybe a child who is actually green conscious, so to say, is able to shout out and say, "Hey, look, that's not supposed to be right where you placed it." And so it's a discussion that we shouldn't like leave it away from the overall discussions. Just as we say, okay, we have a tree planting day, so how do we actually behave when we are planting the trees? How do we deal with the waste that comes along with that? So it's good to know and to be able to support, and actually as the It's For You campaign has been redirecting our little spending to amazing projects such as what Ed is doing and other young people around the world, to be able to support their cause in terms of how they actually turn waste into something good. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And also maybe before I bring in Sadaf, from what Eddie has presented, what other way that would promote circular economy would be, creating incentives from Eddie's innovation. He talks about that, tokenizing internet or Wi-Fi, such that if I bring this amount of plastic waste or other waste, I'll be able to get to access Wi-Fi, say maybe for an hour or 30 minutes or something of the sort. So I believe if we can be able to sort of come up with incentives that will encourage people, to recycle waste, for such things, I think it will also go a long way to foster circular economy. Also for governments, create enabling environment for businesses that are geared towards circular economy, and something like offering tax breaks that would go a long way to help that. So that's my thought. Sadaf, or maybe Inga.
I can
you can
go. Yeah. As we speak, I really feel that it's the urgency of the matter of waste. It's just like insane. If you look what's happening in Asia, in the ocean, around the globe, and all rivers are probably every river in India and probably every river in Pakistan as well are just like blocked. And that's my latest experience since I came back from India last week. So the urgency to say that circular economy, it is for you. We know that planting trees is for you. It's for everyone on the planet. But circular economy, it is for you. There is no waste. It's like we as a team from the It's For You team, we should actually state that urgency deeply, because it's insane. It's madness. And maybe that is my wish, that we really could take the ideas and smash it straight up and say circular economy, it is for you. and every school on the planet, every child, every adult, every must help us to clean up this mess. It's madness. Can you hear me? I'm energized, Sadaf. I'm concerned.
Yeah, Inga.
And I'm
Exactly.
concerned about. Yeah.
I mean, when I started working, on sustainable development goals and all these environmental challenges, I'll share an interesting story because I travel a lot. I'm a traveler. So when I went to, I start with Egypt. I was very excited because I like to see wonders of the world. So I had booked my tour to see the pyramids. Inger has been there; she's lived there. So I was very excited in the morning, all geared up for the tour. I'm going to see the pyramids. I'm going to go inside. Took my camera and all. And when I was passing by, the entrance to the wonder of the world, where they make loads of money, there were heaps of garbage. And I
It's
asked,
worse. It's worse. Oh.
I asked my guide that, are we going? Is this the route to the wonders of the world? And he said, yes, madam. What happened? I said, look at this garbage heaps. And he said, and he didn't have any answer because maybe a lot of people don't just question. They're so excited. They just go visit, take pictures, take that camel ride. They just post it on social media and they visited the pyramids. And then another story I would like to share. You came to India.
You're on, Sadaf.
Can you hear the background noise? I just wanted to. Can you hear it?
It's fine, Sadaf. Proceed.
When I went to India to visit the Taj, and similar experience, that's a wonder of the world. And we were driving. I asked the driver, I mean, I've heard like when I went a few years back, I heard it was white before, but now it's turned gray. And this, you have to go to a car park where you have to go, the cars can't go, but then they take you in these motor scooties, carts, like the golf carts, and then you enter the vicinity of Taj. Inger just recently went. And I said,
Yes.
oh my God, is this Agra? And the same question I asked, that this is wonder of the world and the amount of money they're making. Look at the entrance to it. And it was so, I could not sleep. And I was just thinking that look at the plastic pollution the humans have created. It's related to tourism. We had a discussion on sustainable tourism. And look what the humans are doing to these wonders of the world. And imagine this is on the ground. Imagine Collins and Inger, when I see these documentaries on National Geographic and all these channels, the plastic pollutions in oceans, it's just mind-boggling when you see those. It's like now they're creating it. I don't know whether Inger you've seen. I think it's one of the Scandinavian company. They've created these technology, of course, with AI. And as Tim was talking about, that innovation and technology plays a part, and they net out these plastic from the oceans. So their humans are polluting it, and then they're spending billion and billion of dollars to clear, our oceans and the earth. So it's just like it's an
It's
experience.
crazy.
It's
It's
crazy, as
crazy.
I said, and
It's
fashion, and
crazy.
like everywhere you go, like it's just like I just sometimes I think that I should just stop working. It's demotivates me, and I don't want to work on it because there's no, you can't do it. Like how much can you do and talk about it?
No,
And
you
so
can't. It's
and
crazy.
same, it's crazy. I mean, even if I live in the capital city in Islamabad currently, and this is the posh area where the ex-prime minister is my neighbor here in Banigala, where I live. He used to drive everywhere, and he was the one, Imran Khan, who did the Tsunami Billion project. It got a success. It World Bank funded it. IMF funded that project in KP region. Uh, and there was a landfills when you come to enter where we live. So imagine that all these big in these capital cities, the leaders, they drive through them, they talk about these projects, but then they don't see it, or maybe they're blind. Inger, what can you say? Are they
No,
invisible?
no, 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 no. I don't. I don't have words. I think it's crazy. But the when I talk with the youngster, like in Lucknow, and environmental initiatives. And I said, goodness, how are they going to clean up those rivers, And and it's not only that, it's sewage system as well from humans. It goes straight into without any kind of cleanup. And also the factories is the same thing. It is the same thing, Sadaf. It's
Yeah.
madness.
Yeah, it's true, Inga, and I can agree to that. And just to pick up from this discussion,
Hi, Jordan.
I'm so glad to be joined by Jordan from Nairobi, Kenya, and Jordan is doing an amazing work with the students in one of the private universities in Kenya. Jordan, we are so sorry you came in when the discussion is already picked up. We had a video from Eddie, amazing work of how they're using, this IoT and, technology around it to, bring in behavior change around waste. I just wanted you to briefly share your perspective on how you're working around the plastic issue at your university. Welcome, Jordan.
Thank you very much for having me here again. I believe, just like you said, a lot more was discussed previously, but yeah, I can take you through the plastic recycling that we do. So at the university, or the United States International University, Africa, which is in Nairobi, we are able to collect plastic, put it together, and it's incinerated. That's how it usually goes. But through the Environmental Society, we got the idea of why not divert all the plastic waste from being incinerated to be recycled, create a circular economy, and also create wealth for our club. So we were able to reach out to an organization known as Pure Planet Recyclers Limited, and they were able to come and have an agreement with us whereby they come, they weigh the plastic, they collect it, then they take it and they use it for whatever they do with the plastic on that side. For us, it's a very substantial initiative because a lot of the plastic would have been burnt and a lot of those gases would be released into the environment. So we believe that reusing, repurposing, and recycling the plastic is what we're here to do. It's the purpose of the Environmental Society. So we do that from beginning of September this year, 2023, until today, we have recycled up to 718, but those numbers are yet to change depending on when the semester ends. So yeah, we do collect a lot of plastic on campus. We do create awareness about not using plastic, and if they do use plastic, we also urge people to dispose of them correctly so that we can get them and then we can also recycle them for the school, for the organization, for the club, for everyone involved. So yeah, that's what we do regarding the plastic. In addition to that, the funds that we generate from recycling plastic, we donate them to organizations that fall within our scope. So for example, there's an organization that works with stray animals. It rehabilitates them, gives them medicine and everything, and brings them back to a position where they can be adopted into a loving family. So yeah, we recycle plastic on campus. The money we get, we support organizations like those. Yeah, and there's still a lot more that we can do. Still a lot more that we'd love to do. This is just the beginning of our efforts. Yeah.
It's just the beginning. Sadaf, we had the conversation last evening with Jordan and Collins, and at that yesterday we talked about football and the plastic partnership with the football club Barcelona in Spain, and it needs this kind of grand stages or companies. A football club Barcelona is a company, it's big, and if you really connect with the local football initiative that we're trying to kick off in Nairobi, we can create that statement at COP. I'm really, really keen to push this waste problem. It's a mess. So how can we really bring? I think that's the most interesting thing we can do to kick off a big circular economy fundraising campaign. How can all the 36 universities in Eastern African campus and climate networks, green networks do, can we really kick it off? And if you look at those, there's recycled plastic plantation, there's like things investment. It needs money because you can take care of it, but you need to take care of it. Otherwise, it will come back to the landfill and will be burned again because you can just collect it again and again and get money without getting rid of it. And also in Copenhagen, you have a big waste management system, and you can have charcoal production for biogas, etc. So there's so many brilliant ideas that's out there. And Stockholm city as well is like brilliant, and Los Angeles cities as well. But cities need help. Countries need help because some places it's just out of control. It's just like
I agree, Inger. That's correctly. We were talking about education earlier, and I think universities and colleges in Africa, we've seen they have strong networks. It can be done, trainings and workshops. First of all, it will start with segregation of waste. That's very important. We need to know that you need to separate your glass bottles, your plastics, your paper, like we do Inger in UK and all those countries. All they outsource this to private companies. We are paying high taxes, council taxes, and then those waste, after it's segregated, it goes into landfills, and then even the food waste is being recycled. So there's a whole process behind it. It's not that it's not happening. It's happening in Canada, it's happening in UK, it's happening in Norway, it's happening in Sweden. There's a sustainability rate is quite high. They're achieving those sustainability. So why can't it be done in countries like Pakistan and Africa and underdeveloped countries, and even India is the biggest polluter, China. So I think it should start with home education. A very dear friend, colleague, she's going to be speaking on it, Sadia Khalid, who's a PhD from Pakistan. What she started, she's going to share the idea, which I'm just going to briefly share it. She's preparing the whole presentation on it. They've started campaigns in the rural areas in Pakistan, and she's made like it's a very low cost training workshop with they've colored one box red, yellow, green, pink, and that in the native language they put that this is how you're going to segregate waste. And then at homes how they can like have their kitchen gardens and food waste and compost it and make fertilizer out of it. It doesn't need, Ingrid, these projects, if you think of it, it doesn't need money, but there has to be an effort. As a community, we have to have our own responsibility. We cannot just blame it on the governments. We need to have the sense of education and awareness that this is harming our environment. We have to save our planet for future generations. Otherwise, plastic is going to kill us. Think when we visit these beautiful beach resorts. As I said, I'm a traveler, and these waters, like seawater, you cannot drink, but the rivers and the water streams, at like few years back, we used to drink that water. You can't drink it because of the plastic pollutions. Even in those areas, you need to buy water to drink it. So there's a lot of causes. But coming back to Inger's circular economy, I think small steps, don't be ambitious. As a student, as an entrepreneur, as a organization, corporate sector, private sector, ESG is the new environmental social governance. They've started it in more than 75 countries. They have to be mandatory. They have to follow the certifications regarding environmental challenges. Let's see how that goes, Inger. I want to bring that into discussion later on because that's the coming, and they have having success stories on ESG as well.
Oh, great, Ingan and Sadaf, great insights indeed. And maybe just to maybe Jordan, if you have something to respond regarding that. And as Sadaf you mentioned, the students and education, of course, learning institutions and the young people have actually can play a big role in bringing these shifts of how we can actually address the environmental concerns aligned to plastic. And maybe for Jordan, how has it been? I know you chair the environmental side, the club, but how do you ensure that you bring in students from other areas who are not actually just within your club into seeing this project as something like a collective responsibility for everyone?
At the moment, the Environmental Society of USIU is only limited to USIU, which is not really beneficial because we'd like to do a lot more, which means we need a lot more people. But that's why we talk to people like you, Collins, who can connect us to other East African colleges and campuses. We do share a lot of our achievements, a lot of our accomplishments, a lot of the things we're doing with people around us, not just the students, but also faculty, the community, the people who are engaged in the activities that we have. So yeah, we try and do as much as we can. Every beginning of the semester, so that's September, May, and January, we have intake of freshmen, and every time there's an intake, we try and communicate to them that we are an environmental society. This is what we do. This is how you could be a part of us. And that way, we just gain more people because the more, the better. But to reply to what Sadaf said, I believe that yeah, it's actually a problem, plastic pollution, and I think the one thing that makes plastic such a harmful substance is that it does not decompose. It's not biodegradable. So yeah, the Environmental Society of USIU has been toying with a couple ideas of how we can use that to our advantage. For example, we've been thinking about how we can repurpose the plastic bottles into dustbins, because if the plastic isn't gonna decompose, then that means we're gonna have a dustbin for a lifetime. We're also engaging with artists on campus, people who are creative arts, who create stuff that can actually be used through plastic. So instead of just recycling it, we actually use the plastic to create a message, to create something that stays a long time. So yeah, it is a problem, and that's why we are here. That's why we're discussing what we're discussing. But I believe there's also solutions that we can find just to mitigate the effects that we're feeling in the environment. So yeah, I believe that
But
answers your questions, Collins.
yeah, it is. It's also the source, the beginning of it. Like in Thailand, they are huge producer of noodles, for example, and the plastic producers for the small packages for noodles, for example. And I guess this is also in Pakistan, there are huge production facilities for plastic. So that has to change and stopped in many ways as well. And so that is the transition and transformation. And I think in this thing for It's For You, we as consumer, we have to stop and be aware that what we do and try to just put our foot down and take a stand on some of these issues. But then again, it's the big machinery of industrial production. It comes to food or packaging or chips and biscuits and all kind of food, all kind of stuff. So we have to stop it from the source, and at the same time to really bring the mental model of circular economy as fast into the game as possible. And that's why my suggestion is that if we do really something with football and the circle shape of the football and the plastic, as we talked about yesterday, Jordan, and get that into a system of, call it awareness training, but also education. So, did you reflect on the the plastic and the football match I presented to you yesterday, Jordan?
Oh yes,
Did you like?
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely, Inga. I think it's a very good initiative because people who are my age would gravitate more to a sporting activity than just recycling. So if we're able to combine the two and create a message where people are, enjoying a leisurely activity but are also getting environmental awareness, I feel like it makes sense. A lot of people um, will be targeted by that. Personally, I'm a Formula One fan, and there's a time where they were talking about zero carbon emissions, where they're trying to change the fuel into a more sustainable, more less fossil fuel-based fuels. And personally, that resonated with me. I felt that, yeah, I should probably be driving an electric car, which I don't have a car, I use public transport. But if I did have one, I'd definitely think about that because I've seen it in something I enjoy. It's something
It's coming.
I
It's coming.
resonate with, and
It's
it affects
coming.
me, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
coming.
believe that sports, specifically football, would work.
Definitely.
Coming back to Jordan's, when he mentioned electric motors or vehicles, so recently in Karachi, electric bikes project have been launched by private companies. Let's see. So slowly and gradually in Pakistan also awareness is coming. Electric cars are quite expensive still. Nobody can afford a Tesla and an Audi, to buy a fully electric car. But let's see how it goes. I've heard China is making production some low cost electric cars. They started with hybrid that got popular, and let's see how that goes. So there's a lot can be done, and as I think we should more focus on solutions. We all know plastic pollution is there; it affects our health and environment. But I think that small projects, starting with universities and colleges, schools, even with little kids, if they start teaching them, you are the future. I always say youth is the future. uh, they are going to save the planet Earth. Greta Thunberg was a great success. Inger, she started it, people following it. Fridays for International, every country has Friday for Future. There's so many platforms when we see. So there are good things happening. We all should be positive. It starts with your home. You need to have the motivation. You need to have the consistency. As I said, the environment challenges are huge, but at least we see, and we're discussing this COP28 is happening in Dubai right now. I see so many youth there. They've gone. They've getting sponsorship. They were so excited to join these and attend these conferences, which I haven't seen Inger before. You've been attending so many climate conferences, so I think that's a good start. And they're going to be meeting. It's a good learning experience. They go back home. They start with small projects in their capacity to combat plastic pollution.
Yes, indeed, Sadaf, I agree, and thanks, Jordan, for sharing that experience. I wanted just to check out, Inga, if you have somebody backstage from production who is actually following up to hear their perspective. I don't know whether David.
We do have Tim is here, but he can come back in. But I think the other webinar is going to close
Okay.
but what I like to do, if you allow me, Collins, is actually to share the story of the globe tree. Because
alright.
I don't think Sadaf. Do you know the story of the globe tree, Sadaf? No.
You can share it for our viewers. It will be interesting, Inger. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'll do. So I'll let me find the screen, and I'll do it. And globe tree, here it is. So the globe tree is established in Stockholm, and it's established in Stockholm as early as 1972. So they were part of the global event for United Nations Environmental Program in 1972 in Stockholm when UNEP was founded. So this is the 5th of June, which is the International Day for the Environment. It's a very important date. So here is what they did inside the globe in Stockholm. You see it. It's back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Look at this global arena, all this creativity, all this UN efforts. But and all this happiness, circus, children, joy, and everything. But it doesn't. It doesn't get forward. It was in 1972 they put a law against pollution of the ocean, and we know how it's happened. But let me share, this is Dandora for our viewers, and this is from Kenya. And I think this is really saying everything about we have to do it for the children and for the future.
The area around here in Dandora, it's not good. The dump, it's 10,000 acres. It's so bad and smells so bad. Even someone cannot even stay for a minute to hear that smell when it's too hot. The garbages, when it's burnt, then we breathe the bad air that affects our body. That damn site, even when we receive long rainfalls, the garbages flows in our school, and sometimes they carry syringes, and even like because of this mercury, even someone can get typhoid, can get cholera. In my life, I've been passing challenges. Like now, I'm a totally orphan. I have no parents, I have no family who I can trust. I have no one. Me here in St. Anne, I was being brought by my uncle because my uncle was not able to take care of me. He was addicted in drugs. I'll just like to tell you that my family is just here in St. Anne, like my teacher are the ones who are my family. My mom is the one who brought me to this school because my father abandoned us when I was still young. So my mom was not able to take care of us because we are 3 children. Now, because I'm living in St. Anne, I'm happy because I have children of my age who I can talk to, who I can play with them. Naomi has been my friend for 4 years since she was brought to this school. Until now, we are just friends because she was the one who took time with me. She's my friend. I'm excited because I'm going to the conference. It's a golden opportunity. I'll get their friends, and I'm excited because I think they will change this world. I'll share with them my ideas, like I want to tell these big people to stop cutting down trees and to stop taking this world from further destruction. I feel happy because I've never gone out of Kenya or here Nairobi, here Dandora. Now because I'm going there to see that, I feel so great because there I know I will get some people who will help to change the world and will help.
Geared towards controlling waste, ensuring that we have sustainable cities across the world. So welcome so much, Eddie. Looking forward for a great conversation. And to start us off, kindly introduce. Carry on.
So
Sorry for that. Carry on.
no,
Carry on,
it's
Inga.
no, it's okay. It's okay. I
Can I
think you
also
got.
share a video? It's an
Yeah.
interesting one. Let's
Yeah.
see something I can.
You like to see it?
Yes. Yeah. Please let it continue, kindly.
Can you see the screen?
I will
Yeah.
share the screen, yeah, again.
An abundant ocean can feed 1 billion people a healthy meal every day forever. But now they are being killed by throwaway plastics. The equivalent of 1 garbage truck of plastic is dumped in the sea every minute. 17.6 billion pounds every year. Plastic is everywhere in our ocean, floating on the surface, mixing in the salt water, and sitting on the ocean bottom, miles and miles deep. And once in the ocean, it never goes away. Over hundreds of years, it breaks down into small pieces. But those pieces, even the tiny ones called microplastics, are still plastic. Sea turtles are choking on it. Scientists say that over 60% of whale and dolphin species are affected by it. Zooplankton, the base of the ocean food chain, eat it. And so do we. It's in the water we drink. It's in our food. Microplastics have been found in our salt, our honey, and our beer. And sometimes even in the air we breathe. Companies are choosing to make something that will be used just once, from a material that lasts forever. If you don't like what throwaway plastics are already doing to our world, brace yourself. We face a tsunami of throwaway plastic in our and the ocean's future. 4 times more plastic will be produced between now and the middle of the century than has been produced in all of history. 4 times more. What can we do? Recycling? Of all the plastic ever generated as of 2015, only 9% was recycled. Even when it is recycled, plastic degrades. Your plastic soda bottle maybe becomes a shampoo bottle, then a floor mat. Even in the best case, it doesn't recycle, it downcycles. And then it becomes pollution that ruins our beaches and chokes sea animals forever. We should not be forced to pollute the ocean every time we eat, drink, or go shopping. We need to be given a choice, a plastic-free choice. This is not hard to imagine. Indeed, some responsible companies are already leading the way. There are throwaway plastic-free aisles in supermarkets. Beverage companies already offer plastic-free soda and salsa water. Restaurants offer plastic-free service. There are plastic-free rooms in hotels. An airline is now offering a plastic-free flight. And Oceania and our allies are winning plastic-free victories. Following campaigning by Oceania, Peru passed a law that keeps plastic out of national parks and beaches. Belize is getting rid of styrofoam. And the European Union has mandated reductions for throwaway plastic throughout its 28 member countries. But with your help, we can do more. Together, we can create a movement to reduce throwaway plastic. We can make sure we're all given real plastic-free choices. We can help our cities, towns, schools, and workplaces establish zones that are free of throwaway plastic. Let's stop plastic pollution from wrecking our beaches and our oceans, and have healthy oceans that delight and sustain us for generations to come. Please join our campaign. Go to oceana.org/plastics today.
Okay, thank you so much, Inga.
Thank you.
And it was really a nice presentation there, talking about how we can be able to continue the conversation on what we are having. So we almost we almost there, and before now we get the book of trees. With me, we have Lyron, who will be speaking to us about a project that he has called Makaya, and he's also passionate about energy. So let me allow him in. So he's on stage. Welcome, Lyron, and kindly, and if you can be able to put on your video, please do so, and then engage with us. Thank you. Over to you, Lyron, and introduce yourself. Lyron, we can't hear you. How are you? Okay, maybe there's a technical hitch there. Uh, Collins, are you there? Yes, Collins, are you there?
Yes, Tim, I'm here. I'm following.
Okay.
And great
Thank you.
videos from Inga. It's amazing. Plastic
Yeah.
tsunami are waiting if you don't act. So,
Yes,
inspiring.
I think what Sadaf and it's I feel this kind of the waste craziness and the garbage. It's overwhelming. We need to help the generations to come to do something. We can't expect children to be picking up plastic and garbage, you know, and not the unborns. You know, if we don't do it, who is going to do it? It's going to get worse day by day. So thank you. But let's make a difference, Collins.
Yes,
Okay,
indeed.
sure.
So, Tim,
Collins,
what
you
we
want
have
to take us
next?
through the book? You want to take us through the book of trees?
Yes, indeed. I wanted to just be clear, maybe from you, if we have Martha, if she's ready
We have
to.
Filsa and we have Liron and
Nelson
Filsa, Jordan, Nelson, yeah. But you know, I have a surprise for my friend Jordan. I did edited a small glimpse about since we're in the stream of talking about. I hope it goes well. I'm going to click on the screen to share the video, the small recording we did with Jordan. It's only 5-6 minutes or something.
All right. So feel free. This is it's a celebration. It's like a party. Inga is the DJ. So no. Thank you, Inga and David. Glad to have you today, Jordan. So I just wanted to have you introduce yourself briefly, who you are, what you do, as we pick up our discussion today. Welcome.
Okay, my name is Jordan Dirango Gidire. I am the chairperson of the Environmental Society of USIU Africa. I am also a student on pursuing my undergraduate degree in international relations. Yes, and I'm very passionate about the environment. I believe I got this from both my parents. They are very passionate, and I inherited that. In everything I do every day, I find myself gravitating towards environmental care, and just environmental sustainability. So yeah, that is who I am. There's a lot more to Jordan, but I think for this, that should be sufficient.
Or what's the picture around it?
Around trees.
Yeah, like if somebody told you, like, okay, Jordan, we need a book of tree because we are doing an amazing work about planting trees. What would that be? It's just a thought. What comes to your mind?
No, that's a good question. Trees for me are life. You know, trees bring water. Trees clean the air. Trees bring ecosystem balance. Trees make your house look beautiful. So if someone says that they want to plant trees, I'll give them 2. If they want to plant 3, I'll give them 4. Because I think the more trees we plant, the better it is for everyone. Trees have so many different types of values: economic, mental, physical, ecological. So when someone wants to plant a tree, I get happy. I feel like someone is doing what I want to do, but somewhere else. So
Yes.
yeah, the picture I get when I hear someone wants to plant trees, when I get a message that someone would like to organize a tree planting, is it's jubilation, it's happiness, because it's a manifestation of what I'd like to do in the club being transformed in other students. Other students and other people are feeling that whatever it is Jordan is trying to do, we'd like to do it with him. So yeah.
Thank you, Jordan. You know, for the World Climate School, sometimes I've said, like, imagine that a tree is your teacher and not your teacher. So do you pay the tree or do you pay the teacher a salary if the tree is teaching you something, you know? So nature can actually be a teacher, you know? So so this thing about to rethink the possibilities or private relationships to trees. And of course, I know that Kenya is famous from the Wangari Maathai and the Green Belt movement, which is like a legacy for the Nobel Prize winner, Wangari Maathai. It's very early with this green. Then again, these ideas are flying. We mentioned Pakistan. I was just got an email this morning from Pakistan, a school planting 500 trees next week just to engage in the community. And rightly as you said, it's the community that can be sponsored in this planting and the growing together metaphor for our community. And then from the Pakistani friends, the other evening, we had a conversation with Sri Lanka. This is how the ideas and network flies around. And that was a beautifully presented project. It was, what was the name, Collins? It was the Rotary Project. I see if I'll find it. It was this working in partnership with Rotary, and they got the idea that they would like to work with us, and they are going to plant 1 million trees. So they have a 1 million book idea, and they like to even launch it for COP28 at the end of the 12 days. So say, hi, can we make a 1 million tree story? So it's not like any kind of tree book, but it's like 1 million. I don't know how we can do it, but this is the invitation we have from Rotary. And you see exactly it's Rotary, but they have strategically local community-based partner from banks and insurance and commercial partners that can support. It's amazing, isn't it?
And it really gives hope. And I like how Jordan is putting it that, they have a target. At least there is a step being taken. Inga, you began by saying little steps sometimes, but they do a lot. So I really want to agree with Jordan and actually to appreciate him on what they are doing back as a student. Remember, these are young people coming out and bringing those innovations, those new ideas, and actually that is what is needed to make the better world that we want. Because we want to make the world better, then it begins with me and you. Just as the slogan of it's for you, saying it's about you, it's about me, it's for everyone around the globe. So just want to appreciate Jordan on what you're doing, and especially I was really touched on the issue to do with recycling, because these plastic materials are all over. I remember back then, I don't know if it was in 2019 when Kenya banned the use of plastic bags, and the law was implemented, because sometimes we have laws but implementation is a problem. And I think the parliament then implemented such laws and plastic was banned, but it is still here in our environment, and it's a pandemic. So I see hope when Jordan comes with such an ideas of mobilizing students and doing those small things, because they say small things matter. So I really appreciate, and I agree with you, Inga, that it's possible. It's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I know we have like 3 minutes to wind up, but I would love, because of my background noise, and probably we'll have time to edit the video, I would love you to ask Jordan to give us his call to action and his last message to the world, especially the young people, on how we can keep our planet green. Thank you.
I'd say just what we said right now. Start small. If you recycle 10 kilograms every day, in a year that's 3 tons, almost 4 tons. So yeah, start small.
Wow. Thank you.
Okay.
We're back on stage.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Inka, for giving us that reflection of
Yes.
an amazing speech talk yesterday, and it's glad to have had Jordan say the book of trees life, and yeah, it's life indeed. So thank you.
Yes. And I brought David also into the conversation. The background noise was a little bit too much, but anyway, it's beautiful to see that we are live. It's happening everywhere. It's in the streets, in the cafe, it's at school, it's at home, So I'm happy to see Nelson here. So I'm over to you, Tim. and Collins, and I'll go backstage to the green room.
Okay, thank you so much, Inga, for that, and also for setting pace for us in the Book of Trees, a segment that we'll be closing with. And at this time, we have Liron Nelson, who is the CEO of Makaya Africa. So he'll just share with us what he's doing, what he's doing, and and take us through his journey. So welcome, Nelson. Kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Timothy, and the rest of the team. It's an honor to actually be here. So my name is Leon Nelson. I'm the founder and CEO of Makaya Power Africa. I'm just a youngin who started energy or green energy as young as 23 years old, and right now I'm actually, of course, I'm getting old and all that. Yeah, the rationale behind this was an effect of energy poverty and the effect of climate change in marginalized communities and poor urban communities. So I was actually doing free medical camps to marginalized communities, and I found out that we're losing uh, 23 women every second uh, due to like something like obstructed labor and of course women who are actually were pregnant and they're giving birth and delivering. So one of the most affected areas is the marginalized communities, and these are the areas where they do not have access to affordable and also close to healthcare services, and there's no transport, and this is because of especially of adverse effects of environment. We don't have roads there. The sun is scorching. If it is during the times of rain, like right now in Kenya, El Nino, they're also negatively affected. And one of the most astonishing thing is sometimes there's no power in some of these hospitals, and now the doctors cannot actually treat a patient during the night. And we thought of why don't we bring in the concept of solar energy, which is clean power, and you not destroy the environment trying to bring a solution, but you brought a solution with them. And we managed to save around 5,000 women. Um, Over and above that, I can see that the conversation is also playing around trees and all that. Do you know that in for a single human being in a year, um, we produce, of course, tons of billions of pounds of carbon dioxide, I know, CO2. But planting one tree can actually reduce that to 48%. So you as an individual. So and one of the things that I think that I can actually pick up before I continue with what I'm actually doing in the energy is that that can be a concept that I can take home. That can actually be a concept that I can encourage my team that by the way, I know we're actually doing this healthcare. Why don't we plant trees around the hospital and all that? Yeah, and thank you so much for that. So with that, I have actually I've consulted for different energy companies and projects around Africa. Let's starting with Kenya. I have done for a steel company wind energy for 60 megawatts. It's actually DevKey. So they're actually looking towards producing power through wind, and that's of course going to save our environment a bigger chunk of that. I have also consulted for an energy company in Ethiopia. So we are planning to do 500 megawatts of power through solar. I have also consulted for a company in Uganda. I cannot mention the name right now because it's still in business. Yeah, and you can see how much we Africans want fully to go dependent on clean energy. Yes, we know that most adverse effects caused by the West African countries. Sorry to mention that, but I'm happy that we're taking it. Like, you know what? It's not a blame, it's not a shift or a blame shift to this or that, but we're changing the continent, we're changing our nation and all that. Yeah, and I'm grateful for you guys to actually take this opportunity, because COP28 is not only happening in Dubai, it is also happening in our hearts, in our minds. Yeah, and thank you so much, Timothy, for this.
Great having you, Nelson. And it's good that you've mentioned that you've worked in this industry for quite some time. I've
Yes.
consulted various organizations for various companies, and maybe I can have a question for you. And this touches on the technological advancement, and maybe if I may ask, what recent technological advancement in solar energy could impact the decision making process for to transit to clean energy?
Okay. So the reason to talking about technology that is actually the technology that we have. Okay. Let's start with this. I'm going because I also do hydro and solar. Yeah, let me start with the recent technology that I have actually come across, or that we have actually come across in this uh, project that I'm actually doing in Uganda. There's a new technology that is, having environment in the sea or the ocean or the rivers is so important. Things like, of course, there is organic matter that actually grows there, and then there is also fish that feeds into that. And we previously companies were using technologies like turbines that were killing some of the fish that was growing that was living there. So right now we are doing a fish friendly turbine. It's a little bit expensive, but on the capex, but we are saving on the environment. And you know that fish has an effect to the environment, especially through the exchange of gases and all that. That's one. Second is we have people talking about the type of solar panels that we are actually using, and there was a type of solar panel that okay, probably the project is over and there's something called decommissioning, and people are like, so where do you take these panels, how do you and we are trying, okay, it's still in the making, but we're trying to combine solar and hydrogen as a technology and bringing that, so that as much as we're looking to 100% production of energy, we're also thinking about the environment and pieces of what we're going to be producing and all that. Yeah, as much as that. Yeah, and I'm going to leave you with this. Imagine having a whole Sahara Desert covered with solar panel. Then we'll be talking
Okay.
about clean in a
That will
proper
be
way.
great. That will be good. And maybe just to let you know, for these 12 days of COP, what we are doing, we are taking COP to the people, to all the villages, in the sense that we don't have to travel to Dubai for that
Wow.
reason. And maybe if I can pose this question to you. How do you see local people? How do you see local people get involved and engaged in the whole transition process of solar energy? Because I think, and I tend to think, that is your idea, that any project has to be people centered. It's only through that it can be effective. So how are you putting measures to ensure that even as you're putting this process of transiting to solar energy, it's people centered, that people feel that they're involved in it?
Okay. First of all, I'm going to comment on the travel for COP28. I actually love how young people are taking it. we are not traveling to, well, can you hear me? Yeah, so sorry, it's a call someone was calling. So we are not traveling to Dubai, but you know, um, there's we cannot talk about uh, environment, and we haven't touched about we haven't okay we haven't talked about the planes that our leaders are actually using. Wow, I'm getting lost on this. Just a minute, let me turn my.
It's okay.
Just a minute.
As it's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is it. That is Nelson.
Yeah.
He's taking us. Oh, take us. Carry on, Nelson.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know who is disturbing me. Yeah. So I'm saying we're talking about environment, and when you travel, of course, with the planes and all that, they're using emissions and all that. And I would like companies to actually come up with planes that have less, that are producing less effluent or gases, in the air. Because you can imagine how many people are traveling to Dubai, how many people, how many Bezos trips are going to be taken, all that. I support one of those dignitaries talking in Dubai, and they're saying, are we guys coming here for holiday, or we've come here to change the world and environment? Yes. So you have also asked me the question of how are people, or how are we not living out people in the solar world, right? Like, do they feel included and all that? First, I can say that solar started long time ago, until recently that power has become expensive. And of course, uh, energy or power will always go high because of the inflation and also paying the debts. And right now, I feel that we are actually we're not only feeling the pain of the environment. There is also the pain that is caused by the high cost of power, and people now are actually appreciating, oh, we are actually saving on energy, but we are also saving on our environment or our planet because of using this type of uh, energy as opposed to this other. And I can say that not enough work has actually been done, but there is also a bigger percentage that needs to be done in terms of including people into this, especially in marginalized communities, especially in companies that are feeling a bit tedious changing power from probably diesel to now green efficiency power. And what I think that also should be done is the government should stop. Okay, I'm also sure where this has reached, but they should also reduce the amount they're taxing to solar panels, because they make it too expensive. It is, and that is why when someone actually when we want to include people into the solar panel discussion, they don't want to hear anything above 200,000, 300,000. How are you going to tell a common mwananchi to put 300,000 or even a million right now? They'd rather feel the pinch of paying power 5,000 Kenya shillings every day, every month, than as opposed to a million, So when we will reduce the rates, then we can actually talk about people in the marginalized communities or poor urban communities are enjoying the products or the policies that the government of the day is actually putting towards green energy. I think your mic is.
Thank you so much. You're talking. You shared about the challenges that are experienced in transiting to clean energy, that is solar energy. But also, I believe there are also some success stories, revolving around solar energy. So maybe can you share with us some of these success stories that maybe you've encountered in your consulting experience in as far as transiting to clean energy is concerned?
Okay. Yes, there are actually a few success stories. We have people who are actually using solar to power their irrigation schemes, and it's above. Most of them are not going to look at their saving environment. Most of them, they're going to look at is it much cheaper, and it's actually getting cheaper, but unbeknownst, we are also saving the environment, or they are also saving the environment, which is a plus. Um, uh, Kenya is actually enjoying 80% of clean energy in the grid, and thanks to some of these solar farms that have been established, like in Garissa, we have 50 megawatts. Um, and not only solar, let me also include wind. We also have around 350 megawatts that's coming up all the way from Lake Turkana. We also have another one in Kakamega that is 50 megawatts. I think it's already put in the grid. We also have Kipevo actually really doing good on that. And these are really encouraging stories that, and you know what they're actually doing? The independent power producers that are producing power in those marginalized communities, the communities that surrounds them, they're giving out that power for free. And and probably a community that is worth 10,000 people. We need to appreciate the fact that they can be able to share power with them, and they're not gonna use fossil fuel, cutting down of trees, so that, or to study at night, or even to cook. We also have biogas, and yeah, so these are some of the success stories that I know of. We also have power. I know of a company called, it's by a person called SK Blue. They're powering right now over 200 hospitals with solar panels alone in Makueni. So you can imagine how much they're actually saving the planet on that. So yeah, I believe there are actually so many other stories that I don't know around Kenya. Yes, but I believe that we are on the right trend, and let's you guys push the government to reduce taxation on this, and then we can talk more about success stories on that. Thank you.
Much welcome, Nelson, and it's really nice, hearing you to talk about, some of these success stories that that you've experienced hands-on, and they are a great inspiration that amidst all of these problems, that we still there's that potential for us to turn to zero emission, to meet the net zero emission goal, and that is really great, and I really appreciate that. And maybe if I may ask my colleague Collins, do you have any question for Nelson?
Thank you, and thank you, Nelson, for sharing that. Jordan is on the stage. I would love his feedback, maybe.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Yes, Lyron, it's very impressive the work you're doing. To hear that you were able to start an organization at 23 and actually continue with it up to now and create an impact and create change, it's inspiring. And I just want to say thank you for doing your part on behalf of Mother Nature.
Yeah, welcome.
When it comes to the solar panels, I've actually been trying to get USIU to use solar panels. So I'm actually very passionate about using sustainable energy, because it doesn't make sense that you're sitting in class, you're sitting at home, and the lights, there's no electricity, but then when you walk out, the sun is shining and it's too hot. Why not turn that into something we can use to create energy So yeah,
Yeah.
I really resonate with what you're saying. My question would be actually relating to what Timothy had asked about the new technology when it comes to solar. Let me call it a new technology known as perovskite. It's P-R-O-V.
Known as
S-K-I-T-E, perovskite.
Okay.
And it's basically perovskite. Perovskite. Yeah, you can YouTube, you can Google, you can see what it's about. But efficiency is increased, the cost of production is reduced, and the usability is much more. They can put it around flexible material. They can, I think they're creating a way that it can be painted onto a surface, and then that surface now becomes a solar panel. So there's a lot going on. I think it's impossible to actually keep up with the new technologies coming up with when it comes to environmental sustainability. Because even right now, people are in Dubai discussing environmental sustainability and the technology when it comes to achieving that. So yeah, that's just my feedback when it comes to solar cells. I think I'm very in my YouTube. There's always a recommended video about solar energy, about perovskite, about something like that. So yeah, maybe you can look into it. Maybe it's something you could introduce into Kenya. But it's nice to know that apart from solar cells, you're also interested in other things, geothermal energy.
Yeah.
Myself, I was in Gong Hills 3 weeks ago, and we were able to see how a lot of electricity in Kenya's grid is produced through wind electricity. I think in Turkana, they say that they produce enough to power every seventh light bulb in Kenya, which is impressive. So, yeah, bringing in an energy aspect. Unfortunately, the people who could make a change in the governments and in these big companies that deal with energy, they would like to figure out because instead of trying to get the government to reduce the cost of flights and all that, maybe we should be in the government and not take flights when we are president. Yeah, I completely support you. There's a lot of reduction that can be made during venture. Yeah. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jordan. I would like to comment something on that. I've just remembered that Strathmore is actually doing solar energy, and the excess power of solar energy, they sell it to the grid, so they're making money and a benefit to Mother Nature. So I see that. You talk to them about it. Sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Maybe last question, and then as we wrap it up for this session, would be an issue to do with reliance and reliability. And maybe I ask what backup systems or rather alternative sources are in place to ensure that reliability in terms of solar energy.
Come again, Timothy.
My question, I'm saying, we all know that solar energy is mostly dependent on the source of the sun in this case.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they've been that issue of reliability of this source of energy. And now my question is, what are the backup systems or other alternative sources that can be put in place to enhance reliability?
Okay. I feel that, thank you for that question. I feel that a lot of that there's a lot of innovation that needs to go around backup systems in solar energy because they're quite expensive, especially lithium batteries, the best batteries. Backup energy systems work differently compared to regular generators in that the backup system does not produce any power, but stores the energy charged when the grid is available. Okay, so I think one of the technologies that they need to innovate is the fact that um, like for instance, I've come across Israel is actually doing uh, at night. During the day they produce power, and at night whatever picks up is wind. So they're calling it hybrid. So there is total production of power. There is also total reliance. There is because in case of one dies, the other picks up. I think also solar right now, there's a certain, I think what Jordan was actually saying, it's a certain voltaic, I don't know what it's called, I'm forgetting its name. You don't need even now, like the sun, as long as there's light, it's going to pick up that and convert that to energy. Yeah, so let me say we are at the phase of metamorphosis, yeah, with batteries, and I'm not saying also I'm not sure if I'm supposed to go to that, but let me put it that um, lithium batteries are quite expensive, and not only in terms of money, but they also the people who are actually mining it, lithium and all that. And there's a lot of there's a lot of let me call it geopolitics, and also this 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 is some human disgrace on human to countries that actually produce this. An example is something like DRC. You've seen this child labor there and all that. That's not a really good picture. So I feel that as much as these companies want profits and all that, they should also think about even the countries that actually produce this. They do not have a. They sell their cheap. They sell the. Let me see. They sell the the lithium, and but those countries that actually sell do not have the capacity to buy back those batteries. So it's just um it's me digging out soil and someone else putting in the soil. And also Africa actually gets the bad or the worst the effect on environment. Yeah, so I've also said there's room for improvement on that. Yeah, because batteries are quite expensive. Yeah, but I've given you the other option as hybrid. Yeah, bringing in wind and solar working together.
Jordan, you have any input on that? Okay, so maybe guys, we can give our parting shots, our closing remarks as we close this chapter, and then we go to and then Collins will take us to the Book of Life segment. Let's start with you, Jordan. Your closing remarks, can you?
Yeah, just like I said yesterday, the mind is like a garden, and if you plant an idea in it, it grows. So if we're able to plant environmentally conscious ideas, they'll germinate into trees of hope and change. And leave that one, have an idea, be inspired by anything and everything, but also let that idea grow into action. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Nelson?
My parting shot is solar energy is a rapidly growing market, which should be good news for the environment. And unfortunately, there's a catch with it. And I'd say let's support green energy. Let's support. Let's not just talk about that. At your place, you cannot be talking about planting trees and you're not using an improved jig or something like that. Yeah. So, and the last one is a Chinese proverb that says, I think all of you know about it. The best time to plant a tree was 100 years ago. The best time right now is now. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, Inga, and glad having you back from the stage. Jordan, you'll have to stay with us a little bit because we have still picking up from the story about the Book of Trees, and so maybe I'll allow Tim to just give us a slight intro on who is coming in for that. Yes, Tim.
Tim, you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yes, it's.
Thank you for that. I was saying that it's an invitation you're making to people to express their connection with trees. It could be a tree that you planted when you were young. It could be a tree that you planted and you go for meditation, like the one we had as we were starting this session. So we're inviting people to express their connection with trees. And in today's segment for Book of Trees, we're having Martha Wanderi, who will get to hear her expression on how she connects with the tree, which will be read by Collins, and then she'll join us later. Collins, can you take us through?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tim. I got an interesting piece from Martha or this Book of Tree story, and she wrote a small piece titled "The Ultimate Book of Trees." And actually, the the story dates back to April in 2022, and the place was actually at the Thika Chapel in Kenya, and it's about the avocado tree, and she says that it gives her a remembrance form of the story, and she writes my personal story of the tree. Uh, this that was my first time and experience planting trees. The tree planting activity I took part in was a project of the Mount Kenya University Environmental Club. Something special about that day is that it was the day when I met most of my campus friends who would later be very instrumental in my life. I started connecting with different people that every day. When I pass by the area to check on the tree, it makes me appreciate the tree planting activity I took part in and gives me the drive to take part in more tree planting activities. So that's Martha's pickup story about this avocado tree that brings in a rich source of energy and nutrients. Uh, Back to you, Tim.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mother is joining us shortly, and she's joining us, and maybe if we can have a question or two about the piece that Collins has read. But maybe before she joins us, maybe we can give her reflections on what she has on the piece that she has shared. Maybe we start with you, Jordan. Or you, Collins.
Yeah.
Either
So
of them.
as Jordan tries to connect, amazingly, Tim, we had just a brainstorming event with students from the EACGN, the East
Yeah.
African Campuses and Colleges Green Network, and we were just posting for a meeting, and I asked, like, if you close your eyes for 3 seconds and somebody woke you up and said, "Hey, give me the Book of Trees," what does that mean? And so I had them to write on some small pieces of paper about what they thought about it. And I'll just read out a few. And, one said, it's about a good friend of mine. A tree represents like a memory about a friend. One said about the parents, one said about the food because of the fruit trees. One said it's like entertainment, kids love to play near the tree. And to some was a bit emotional that it brought about tears. We had one who actually said that, for the book of tree, for them, it represents, this separation, I think, from, their cultural aspect about a tree in their community that actually separates the good from the bad. And so it's interesting to just look forward to what the people who are actually viewing and the network around us to share their stories about what they think the book of tree is. So back to you, team. If Martha is with us, then I know we have a few minutes to wind up the program for this session. Is Martha
Yes,
with us?
yes.
Oh, she is.
Yes, she's here. Yeah, she's here with us. She's here with us. It's just that she's trying to sort her mic, but as she's sorting her mic, maybe a few reflection from what I've gotten from her piece, the avocado trees. She says that she attributes avocados to be tropical plants that they tolerate very little cold, and the tree and they are known for their fruits, which contain rich source of energy and nutrients. Which it builds up to the conversation that we were having that about energy. So maybe planting these trees also it not only gives us the serene environment, the good fruits, but it's also a source of energy for people. And you see, it's also planting tree. The aspect of planting trees can also be termed as an opportunity to network. Because from her experience, she says that it was during her first time. It was actually her first time to engage in a tree planting activity, where she connected with friends who till date have been so instrumental in her lives. So her lives, sorry. So it's really then it shows us that even us participating in such activities, it may not only bring forth a connection with the tree, but also it could also be also an opportunity for us also to meet people that will carry forth in their entire life. My thoughts. That's what I'm getting from it.
Jordan, your perspective as we wait for Martha to join us.
Yeah, sorry, I was having some technical difficulties. Yeah, Martha's story is very inspiring. Personally, I've also been in a position where I knew people and I went elsewhere. So yeah, it galvanizes the community behind a common cause, and I believe it makes sense. And over and above that, these are kind of like a time capsule. You plant trees and then come back to a year later and see, you planted it on how you.
Sorry, Jordan, we seem to be losing you on the connection. I think on the backstage I'll have Filza, your perspective on the discussion as Martha tries to get with us.
Hello, my internet is a bit weak, so I don't know when it's going to go off again. But
We can hear you.
it was a really nice session, and I really loved Nelson. Myself, anything really, yeah, except for planting a tree or two somewhere. But I want to do more, so I'm just trying to learn more from you guys. Yeah, I'm from Pakistan, and I am like by doctor by profession, and yeah, just I'm just trying to get to know more things about environment and how to contribute positively in this effort. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Phils, and it's glad to hear from you in Pakistan and following up on our discussion. Trying to get, I know we have Gina in back at the stage. Gina, if you could hear your perspective as well on the discussion.
Okay. We are back. Let me see.
Okay, Inga, do we have
You
Inga?
can see. Rather than backstage. So, as waiting for Inga, I think we're almost coming to the close. I think it's in a minute's time to the end of our session today, and maybe we can take this time also as we wrap it up, as we bring Inga in, maybe to give our reflection on how the first day of the 12 days of COP has been and the conversations that we've had. Maybe we can give a reflection on one or two. Inga.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tim, and thank you, Collins, and hi to David. I think the first day has been extremely exciting, and it's nice to be here together with you. And I think it's a lot of learning and to hear our stories together. Many of the stories you've shared today, I haven't been taking part in the interview and the conversation, so it brings up more energy to me. I think also that I've been able to be authentic, and the conversation with Sadaf on plastic and waste and recycle, how that was kind of igniting to a story that is really important for everyone on the planet. And David, you were not here at the time, but we talk about the circular economy as it is for you. We have to clean up our shit in the ocean, the rivers, everywhere, in cities, in the countryside. It's everything is out of order when it comes to waste management in many places. So that is one of my biggest take, that was like something we like. It's for you. It's we cannot leave the cleanup for our children, and that is also in the ocean, particle plastics, microplastic in ocean, as well as air pollution in the air. It's the same story. And that's one of my biggest takes. And then I think it's extremely exciting to see that we are really coming together as a team from our diverse background, and we are able to invite people on the fly into our conversations, into the dialogues that we have. And I think we are having it humble and trying to bring forward a dignity in our work that I really love and appreciate. I think that is one of my conclusions. So let me stop here. It gets too much talking. So could pass on the ball. I'm passing it over to Collins, who has been here from the morning as well. All hours. It's early morning.
Thank you so much, Inga, and glad to have the team as in David and the rest. So I will just reflection to think through of how we have come through in the morning about it's for you. Just reflecting on how we have come along together as a team, getting into the education aspects about the literacy with Sunita and the team, David and Richard at the discussion, and all through to the meditation part of it. I think Kat kind of touched my soul to share and just say that we are the force of life, and if we get through all the discussions around it, then we get to understand that it's for you, it's for you, it's for you. It's getting interesting, inspiring, and soul searching as well. And I will just love to tell those who join us today live that this discussion is a genuine discussion and it's for you. Pick it up from what you have heard from the debate. Come on stage, share your story, share your perspective, and let's tell the world that this little steps that you're actually taking is towards a better world. So thank you so much, and over to you, Gina.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Colin, David, and Inga. I'm here for last, I think, probably an hour and a half, and you were doing excellent show. And when you talk about the solar, that is much needed, and we should have a lot of programs on the solar, right? And so heads up to you. You're doing wonderful job, and I'm actually, I'm a backbencher. I normally don't come in front, so I'm in the back just watching. And if you need it, just to support, right? So I'm, you'll be find me most of the time on the back of the site. I'll be there and need it. I'll come. I was thinking earlier. If I can get a chance with a talk to Dr. Filza, if she around, right? So, I'm here. If she comes, right, then I'll come and I'll talk to her also. Well, she's here, I think, Filza. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Filza. I think she's trying to connect. So yeah, David,
Well,
meanwhile
in the meantime,
you can take up the speech.
let me fill in. So thank you so much, everybody. I think this has been an incredible day. It's our first, and I think the energy is all building up now. The adrenaline's flowing, and we're all excited by this. I did hear your comments about the circular economy, Inga. I was juggling along, testing all the different things behind the scene. And I'm very pleased to tell you that we've streamed on Instagram, we've streamed on Facebook, we've streamed on LinkedIn, we've streamed on Twitter, now called X. So you can follow us on many, many different platforms. We broadcast from 10 to 1 o'clock, 10 in the morning to 1 o'clock in the morning, from 2 o'clock until 5, and from 7 until 10, and then again from 3 a.m. Until 7 a.m. And this is all times in GMT, and they translate locally to 7 to 10 p.m. Locally in Tokyo, Karachi, London, and Los Angeles. So wherever you are around the world, you'll be able to join us. And I want to say the one thing, my strong takeaway with all of this, which is that looking at the technology we're using and the way in which we're able to do things at the moment, we need to be reminded this came out from a time of crisis of COVID, of how we saw that. And we see many of the challenges ahead of us at the moment, and sometimes they seem too much. But when we look back and see what out of those crises we are able to turn as opportunities for a new beginning, and that is what I take from what we have managed today. And in the middle of all that, what Kurt has brought in about that essence of peace, and peace being from within and peace being in everything along. And that, I think, is one thing we need to remember. And I'm really grateful for having had that session, for him having anchored it. I see that as a period with that anchor as I saw. So from 2 o'clock for 20 minutes in GMT time, at a time chosen so that everybody can connect, is a moment for us to realize that it doesn't matter how we may think the problems are impossible and otherwise. As Christina described in the morning, when you're able to take that time as measured by the time when Homer was around to the time when it's now, when we're able to take that big perspective genuinely and to allow ourselves to heal first, then we will know what really are problems that we need to resolve and what are problems there to confuse us. So it's been a remarkable day for me. It's been really great. We still have a session to do this evening from 7 until 10 p.m. in London time. So we hope many of you will be able to join us. And then one of these we will go on through for the audience in Los Angeles. Dr. Flusa, are you able to connect? Oh, I think we have lost that connection, I'm afraid, Mr. Juna. Tim Collins, would you like to take us out?
Yes, it's been incredible. It's been an incredible day. It's been an incredible session, and my main takeaway has been on what Madam Sunita said in the morning session, that we ought to, she was talking about education, and we ought to bring up a generation that is empathetic, and that for me changed the posture of my heart, that even as you approach these conversations about environment and how we are going to remedy it, that we should approach it from an empathetic point of view. Because once I'm empathetic about you, I will be able to look at you from a different perspective, and not to look at you from a point where I feel like you've offended me and I need to pin you down, but from a point whereby both of us, we can be able to have a conversation, and that will set a good precedence. So that is it from me, and maybe Mr. Collins, kindly sign us off as we wrap it up this session. And thank you so much to our viewers, and looking forward to see you in the next session.
Thank you, Tim, and great to have had such a an amazing day. Just to our viewers again, as I mentioned, it's for you. Sign in, join in, take it the discussion higher, and let's keep this discussion going. So, thank you and bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Really great show. I enjoyed for last 2 hours. Good show.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. We
Thank
end
you.
the streaming now.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.